Hello and welcome to Group 2's final project. Our chosen project is to create an external-facing web application for Thrifty's grocery stores that will provide customers with options for online grocery ordering and delivery. The project will improve customer experience by saving them significant amounts of time and making their shopping experience easy. It also provides additional accessibility options and independence for customers unable to do their own shopping. The goal of the project is to improve perception of the company brand and encourage market expansion by maintaining a competitive advantage. This will also work to increase sales within the company and maintain returning customer business. Customers have increasing expectations for self-serve options and web-based interactions, and this project will help Thrifty's grocery store continue to meet those demands. So who is counting on the success of this project? Well, there are many stakeholders, but they can be divided into two categories, internal and external to the company. Internal stakeholders include the VP of Operations, who is a project sponsor and has vested interest in seeing the project completed successfully. Thrifty's owners, they have shared control and responsibility over the costs and benefits related to the project implementation. Thrifty's shareholders, who share control and responsibility over the costs and benefits related to the project. Thrifty's management, who are responsible for overseeing new processes resulting from project implementation. And Thrifty's employees, who will be responsible for performing new processes resulting from the project implementation. The external stakeholders are the customers of Thrifty's Grocery, who will be using the app to place grocery orders, the suppliers, who will be impacted by increases in sales and orders resulting from the app, creditors in the bank, who will provide loans for project funding and are concerned with the timely repayment of borrowed funds, and the media, who will be consulted and employed for target marketing campaigns for the launch of the app. In terms of scope management, initial requirements will be submitted as a document, approved and signed off by the project sponsor. Any items not included in this document will be treated as changes to project scope, and management and key project leads will review and approve all suggested changes to scope and will provide the following to the team for approved changes: the priority, the scheduled time for development and testing, and what other requirements may be removed or implemented at a later time if necessary. Along with a whole host of internal documents, the deliverables for the consumer who uses the app will be to locate nearby stores, access coupons and flyers based on location, easily search for and access available products, pay for their order via credit card, Apple iPay, or PayPal, request delivery times, and track their order. Project constraints include the following. Funding approval is required from the bank before project tasks can commence. All project deliverables must be completed by October 10, 2018. The chosen technology platform for the application must integrate with existing business applications, and the project budget cannot exceed $267,236, plus a 15% contingency, for a total of $307,321. And as always, customer personal data and payment data must be kept secure. The assumptions for this project are that all necessary project resources will be available full-time for the duration of the project. The users will be available for focus groups and user acceptance testing. The estimation of product orders will be sufficient for the increase in sales. And the project team will communicate on a regular basis to analyze progress and provide project updates with the stakeholders. Assuming 15% of current customer base will register to use the app within the first 6 months of launch, extensive user-accepted testing will have to be done before, during, and after the official launch to ensure quality. A request for proposal will be put forward to select appropriate web-based platforms upon which the application will be built. This is the work breakdown schedule, which outlines how much work each portion of the project will take and the respective costs for them. This project should cost approximately $267,236 to complete. This Gantt chart depicts the timeline of events during the span of the project. Once approved, the project can commence as early as April 9, 2018 and be completed by October 10, 2018. The first phase of the project is the design and mock-up phase. During this time, the team will be selecting the features to be included in the app, working out the delivery and pickup schedule, and designing the layout of the app. The second phase is the app development, in which developers, designers, and business analysts will work hand in hand with the project manager and product managers to come up with an app that meets all the needs of the company. The third phase is training. During this time, the project manager and product manager will work hand in hand with executives and store management to come up with a process for executing the app and subsequently train the appropriate staff to effectively manage the changes to the store. Once appropriate staff are trained, the company will do a soft launch of the app and start by inviting users to try the app on one lower volume store. If successful, users will be invited to try the app at another higher volume store. And once the app has been tested and successfully used by customers at the soft launch, the app will complete its launch and be submitted to the App Store for use by customers at all stores. There will be a period of about 2 months of collecting feedback for the app to determine what can be improved. During this time, staff will review feedback and use it to improve the app to satisfy the needs of the customers and employees. The re-release will be done by October 10, 2018, at which point the project will be complete. IT staff will be responsible for the security of customer information and for other improvements and bug fixes that will be required long-term. Looking closer at the development process, one thing that has to be considered is whether to have a native or a hybrid application. For native app development, pros include better performance, superior user experience, and the fact that internet connectivity is not needed. Cons include that it's more costly, platform dependent, and that more developers are needed to complete the project. For hybrid app development, pros include faster development that is less costly and platform dependent. However, it is underwhelming, requires internet connectivity, and has feature limitations. Here's the cost summary breakdown by percentages, and as you can see, the majority of costs come from the app development process and the training for staff and management, which mainly consists of one-time costs only. This slide provides the resource summary expressed in approximate hours of effort for each of the main tasks of the project. The development and the launch of the app will take the most time and effort. Training will take the least amount of time. The project manager and product manager are involved throughout the entire project. Store management is mainly involved in training and testing. And designers and developers work hand in hand for the development, launch, and improvement of the app. These charts put a visual perspective into the summary previously discussed. To the left is the breakdown of effort required in hours through the project, and to the right is the visualization of involvement required from the key resources. The communications for this project are as follows. First, the intent of the application would be introduced to stakeholders to create buzz and interest about 7 months before the project deadline were to be set. Shareholder meetings would keep everyone informed of the progress each month. For the application development at 3-month intervals, new versions of the app would be tested by user groups, which would allow discussion between developers and end users to tweak the app using the data collected from the user groups. 2 months prior to the release, staff and management would have to get together to discuss the upcoming launch and what everyone's roles would be. Bulletins to staff would allow staff members to become familiar with the app, and 1 month prior to release, weekly meeting reminders would encourage participation from the employees and encourage communication to customers. Also 1 month prior to the release of the app, in-store signage would create interest and anticipation for the launch. The project manager and public relations officer would have to discuss how best to present their message to the intended target users. Once the app is released, the features would be communicated to the users through a pop-up tutorial when the app is open for the first time. This communication would ensure the app is being used to its full potential by the users, and users could access this information at any time if they got stuck. Developers would decide based on the information from the test groups which features to highlight and how best to communicate this information. And then to ensure continued smooth operation, updates for the app would be as needed, but no more than once a month. This would be done by developers based on user feedback when prompted within the app itself. The project risks generally involve around certain aspects of the project that were not fully considered early on. So for example, the lack of an inadequate change management plan for the project could have unfortunate consequences to project acceptance. Having inadequate or unskilled resources available is always a risk for project completion, and the risks also include not completing the project on time or having to deal with unforeseen changes and additions to the scope of the project. Not considering the security aspects of implementing a web app can also have several severe consequences. Completing the app without defining the necessary internal processes to go along with it can also affect project success. Completing the project with unresolved defects in the app or other project issues can leave unplanned work for the business. The effects of the risks generally revolve around impacts to the time, cost, or quality of the product. Lack of change management or designated resources could result in a lack of internal acceptance of the new product or the project going over deadline. There's always a risk that the project will not be completed on time due to unforeseen issues or additions to the project scope, which could cause the project to go over budget or have internal and external expectations about the product not being met. Creating a web application, particularly one where people use it to pay for something, can cause increased security risks that must be considered to avoid unwanted data breaches, liability to the company, and potential reputational damage. If internal processes are not properly considered, the success of the app may fail if staff are unable to meet customer demands. And defects with the final product or other unresolved project issues may cause increases to the project timeline to fix, reduced quality in the final product, or a poor user experience that may affect project success. So to mitigate the previously mentioned risks, the project can take several steps both in the planning stages and throughout the project. Putting together a solid change management plan to ensure proper communication about the project with internal management and staff is important to obtaining acceptance for the project. Having dedicated resources allocated to the project and backups assigned will help to mitigate resource unavailability. Taking the time to clearly define business and system requirements for the project and having them approved by the business and project sponsor will help to maintain scope control. Conducting a privacy impact assessment and a security threat and risk assessment will help to ensure that necessary security precautions are implemented throughout the development. Mapping the impacts of internal business processes and providing documentation to staff on new processes will help ensure staff are prepared to deal with the new app. Engaging the business throughout the project and ensuring that regular communication is made between project participants will help to control scope and catch and fix defects early on. Development of a responsibility matrix will ensure that each project member will be clearly aware of what their role is within the project if issues arise and must be resolved. So, in conclusion, proper planning ahead of project implementation, proper communication, and risk management are essential for the Thrifty's self-serve grocery app to succeed. For more details on the project steps, please consult the business plan as submitted with this video. Thanks for watching and happy shopping!